Now let's look at another major electoral issue, the issue of illegal immigrants. Every single day, hundreds of migrants come into the US illegally. This happens every day. Normally, these immigrants are taken for processing. They are then given a chance to seek asylum. They have to wait for citizenship before they can enjoy the same rights as the locals, as American citizens. But that's not always the case. Some places in the US extend the right to vote to non-citizens as well, even illegal immigrants. And this has become a major issue in this election. We went down to the city of Takoma Park in Maryland. It's a so-called sanctuary city, which gives non-citizens the right to vote. Here's what we saw. It's the final day of campaigning in Takoma Park. The city council election is in full swing, and candidate Ambrose Agose is going old school. With pamphlets in hand, he is going door to door in the hope of winning over the last remaining undecided voters.
All type of community are supporting me: white, African, Black American, Indian, Spanish. Yes, I have all those communities supporting me.
Agose's campaign materials reflect his wide outreach. They are printed in several languages, including English, Spanish, and French, even Hindi. That's because he's not just seeking the votes of Americans, he is appealing to people from all parts of the world who live here, even illegally. This is Takoma Park, a city in the US state of Maryland. This is on the outskirts of Washington, D.C. And Takoma Park is unique because it allows non-US citizens to vote in local city-level elections. This is both legal US residents and illegal immigrants. They're all allowed to vote, and this is a right that was given to them way back in 1993. The idea was to involve all people in local decision-making and planning. Takoma Park has been a sanctuary city for migrants since 1985. For decades, it has provided refuge to migrants of all kinds. Today, about 30% of the city's population is made up of migrants. Agose is aiming to win their support. He is running to represent Ward 6, where many migrants and non-citizens live. Agose says, even without citizenship, they must have a vote.
People who live here, they contribute building the city. So when it comes to the election, to give them a chance also to express their voice.
A lot of Americans do not agree with this view, especially the Republicans and their leader Donald Trump. They believe, and perhaps rightly so, that allowing non-citizens to vote is a dangerous trend. Trump aims to abolish the idea of sanctuary cities altogether, and the Republican Party has been pushing for legislation to ensure this. Republicans like House Speaker Mike Johnson say that the non-citizen voting process is a clear and present danger. Why? Because they fear that this could ultimately change the makeup of the US Congress. Republicans have tried to bring in laws that restrict non-citizens from elections. Bills have been introduced in the US Congress that require proof of citizenship before you register to vote and restrict federal funding to cities like Takoma Park. In fact, earlier this year, they also blocked a law that allowed non-citizens to vote in local elections in D.C. Immigration was already a hot-button issue in this election. The idea of allowing non-citizens to vote has only intensified the debate. The concept itself is not new, though. Only a few cities allow non-citizens to vote, that too in just local elections. The turnout, too, remains extremely low, because illegal immigrants tend to not want to attract attention by turning up to vote. Yet, there have been cases of fraud. In Michigan, which is a battleground state, a Chinese student pretended to be a US citizen. He successfully cast a vote in the presidential election. Observers say such cases are rare. But in close polls where every vote counts, no side wants to take chances. Also, immigration has become a point of contention for American voters. 3 out of 5 Americans say it's a key issue. Some accuse illegal immigrants of taking away jobs. Others say immigrants use welfare services and unfairly take away American taxpayer money. There are also safety concerns. Migrants are accused of being criminals and of smuggling drugs into the country. Donald Trump has capitalized on this anti-immigrant sentiment. Trump says that November 5th will be Liberation Day if he is elected. He plans to crack down on illegal immigrants. He is pushing for mass deportations.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program of criminals in American history. It's going to be the largest deportation of criminals. We're going to get them out of here fast.
Trump wants to deport about 15 to 20 million illegal immigrants using a law from 1798 called the Alien Enemies Act. Reports show that 88% of all Republicans support this. They support mass deportations. Obviously, this has immigrants concerned.
A lot of us are scared because Trump says the first to be deported will be the Venezuelans. Understand?
Every 4 years it's terrifying. Of having the knowledge, of having to know where the ICE detention is. So if my husband gets taken, I know where to go, because it's terrifying having to tell my kids why we're voting a certain way, because those elections are so important of where their dad is, where their dad's status could end up.
The issue of immigration in America is too big for either party to ignore. Both Republicans and Democrats are promising to reduce the flow of illegal immigrants, but neither side has presented a concrete plan to fix the problem. Involving illegal immigrants in the democratic process and giving them the right to vote only complicates things further. Washington is all set for a presidential battle like no other.
In less than 90 days, it's either going to be him or me sitting in the Oval Office.
Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump.
All we want is one simple thing: get out on Tuesday.
A vice president versus a former president. As we head towards election night, Vantage will be live from the heart of the action. Speaking to voters in this final stretch,
I'm still very undecided.
Very close presidential race.
Tracking the campaigns as they make the last push. From exclusive ground reports to in-depth analysis, this is your one-stop destination for the presidential race. Join us on this special edition of Vantage, live from the White House in Washington, D.C.